An army unit destroys 9 cars equipped with machine guns and kills terrorists in Aleppo. Gatilov says misleading news media report events in Syria before they happen. "133 people involved in events in Syria but committed no acts of killing turned themselves in." Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our news for today. Our armed forces continued to pursue terrorists in Salah ad-Din neighborhood in Aleppo. The operations resulted in inflicting heavy losses on the terrorists and the confiscation of their weapons. Among the terrorists killed were Ammar Abdel Haj, Ahmed Abdel Haj Qasim, Anas Haj Othman, Omar Ahmed Barakat, Ibrahim Manafikhi, and Ahmed Yusuf Janoudi. The authorities have clashed with armed terrorist groups who were riding cars equipped with Doshka machine guns and assaulting citizens, perpetrating acts of killing and sabotage and cutting off roads in Daret Azza and Kibtal Jabal in Aleppo suburbs. An official source in the governorate said the clashes destroyed 9 cars and killed all terrorists inside them. In Homs province, the authorities early today repelled an armed terrorist group that tried to cross the border from Lebanon at Halat site in the countryside of Tel Kalakh city. Sana reporter quoted the source in the province as saying that the armed terrorist group fired machine guns and missile shells from inside the Lebanese territories at the Bousia border crossing to cover another group that attempted to infiltrate at Halat site. The source added that the authorities managed to foil the attempt and inflicted heavy losses upon the terrorists. In their pursuit of the armed terrorist groups, the authorities cleared Al-Qarabis neighborhood and Homs from terrorists and restored security and stability to the place.
As our armed forces were chasing terrorists in Al-Qarabis neighborhood in Homs, they found numerous tunnels the terrorists used to transfer weapons and equipment and to perpetrate acts of killing against citizens and law enforcement troops. One of the tunnels connects Al-Ghouta with Al-Qarabis main street, while another connects the street with Juret al-Shiyah. The other tunnels were dug among building blocks. At one side of a tunnel, a warehouse was found where terrorists stored weapons and explosive devices. A large quantity of weapons was confiscated that included RPG launchers, automatic rifles, modern communication equipment, ammunition and others. Among the killed were terrorists who belonged to various nationalities and who had come to Syria to kill Syrian citizens and destroy the homeland. Our armed forces and Syrian citizens renew the pledge to protect Syria from all those who want to spread terrorism and undermine security and stability, so that our homeland will remain forever a message of love and humanity.
Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Gennady Gatilov has said some news media resorts to coverage of events in Syria before they happen. Gatilov wrote in his page on Twitter website that the misleading news media are trying with all means to compensate for what the opposition could not realize. He considered the situation in Aleppo as being difficult. "133 people who were involved in recent events but committed no acts of killing have turned themselves in to the authorities in the governorates of Damascus and its suburbs Homs and Idlib. The citizens were released to go back to normal life after pledging not to take up arms again, take part in sabotage acts or participate in any activity that affects Syria's security and stability in the future. With this, we conclude our news bulletin for today. For more news about Syria and the region, you can visit our website in English, syrialine.sy. Up next, the latest business and market news with Vani after the break.
Good afternoon. Minister of Economy and Foreign Trade Dr. Mohammed Muhabbak issued a decision which includes forming an advisory council that would discuss all issues related to the economy and finding means of revitalizing exports in addition to finding new markets. The council would meet every month and when needed. The minister issued another decision which stipulates forming a communication group at the ministry to communicate with citizens and take their complaints so that they can be taken care of. The Deputy Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Protection, Engineer Imad Al-Assil, stressed that the difficulty in transporting goods, especially fruits and vegetables from the governorates to Damascus, was one of the reasons for chaos, which was witnessed by markets in the beginning of Ramadan, in addition to rising prices, especially for summer vegetables. Al-Assil also showed that the markets recently recovered as the prices of most products stabilized. On the other hand, the member of Damascus Chamber of Commerce, Mohammed Hallaq, mentioned that the food retailers are facing troubles in providing some products due to the current circumstances. The Central Bank of Syria dedicated 60 billion Syrian pounds as assets for the Agricultural Cooperative Bank to finance the purchase of cereals for the year 2012. 45 billion Syrian pounds were already paid, as the cost of the purchased wheat has surpassed 40 billion Syrian pounds up till now. The Central Bank of Syria continues its financing operations to meet all the needs of the farmers this season. The Central Bank said that this move comes out of the important role of the agricultural sector to support the national economy. It aims to maintain domestic food security. The measure is also taken out of keenness to meet the needs of the farmers to help overcome all the difficulties that are related to the purchase and selling of cereals. The Directorate of Water Resources in the Governorate of Al-Hasaka has completed 86% of the projects of drawing water in Ain Diwar station on the Tigris River. The total cost of project amounts to more than 919 million Syrian pounds. Director of Water Resources Engineer Samir Mora said that 10 monitoring wells were digged in the hydrographic basin of Tigris and Khabur rivers with a total cost that reached 21,442,000 Syrian pounds, in addition to 14 wells for drinking water that were constructed and already tested in various parts of the governorate with a value that reached 45 million Syrian pounds. The Brent crude was down to $106 per barrel, with investors growing caution that any new stimulus measures that result from the meetings of the Federal Reserve and the Central Bank of Europe may not be enough for recovering the failing economies. European shares declined after a 3-day rise as investors are waiting to know if the policymakers of Europe would support the Eurozone. Japanese shares also declined in their early tradings, with the investors waiting for the meeting of Federal Reserves and the European Central Bank to see if they would decide on more stimulus measures, as the Nikkei index dropped by 0.5%. Gold stabilized in the Asian tradings as investors are watching carefully the meeting of the Federal Reserve's Political Committee, which would shed light on the Reserve's view towards the stimulus cash, as it is a basic factor in moving the prices of the precious metal. Spot gold registered $1,621.94 an ounce, without any change from yesterday's closing session, as U.S. futures of August rose 0.1%. The dollar fell against 15 of its 16 major peers amid speculation that Federal Reserve policymakers may signal additional stimulus when they conclude a two-day meeting that starts today. And with this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.